So you're thinking about moving to Dallas, Texas, but if you're watching this particular video, you might possibly be thinking about moving to the city of Forney, just outside of the Dallas metro area. And you are in luck because on our channel, we dive into everything you need to know about living in Dallas, Texas. Most of what we do talk about here are the things that will probably matter most to you and your family if you're thinking of relocating here to the Dallas, Texas metro area. So in our video today, I am going to give you everything that you're going to need to know to decide if Forney, Texas is going to be the possible city that you may want to look into further, or if you want to scratch that particular city off of your list. And I'm going to talk about the things that really matter to a lot of the people here, because these are the questions that I do get asked when people reach out to me. Now I'm going to discuss the commute, the schools, the crime rates, employment, plus I'm going to give you a map tour of the city and even jump into the MLS and show you what you can get for your money here in Forney, Texas. Finally, I want to wrap it all up with some of the reasons that you may not want to live in Forney and reasons why it may be the best place for you to call home as well. But first, my name is Kristen Carpentier, and I'm a local realtor right here in the Dallas-Fort Worth metro area. And my team and I help people just like you every single day make that move here to the Dallas, Texas area. So if you ever have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out, give me a call, shoot me a text, or send me an email. Or better yet, let's hop on a Zoom call to get to know each other a little bit better. And if you are thinking of making that move here to Dallas, Texas, we can put together a plan to make that move go as smooth as possible for you. So today we are talking about living in Forney, Texas, and the city of Forney was actually founded in 1871 as a small little village known as Brooklyn. A school, a church, a general store, a saloon, and a blacksmith shop. So pretty tiny. And once the railroad did show up, the town was renamed in 1893 for one of the noted railroad officials, John W. Forney. Now, one unique fact about Forney, Texas is that it was named by the Texas legislature as the antique capital of Texas. So Forney does have a lot of rich history here in Texas, and it has that rural feel, which they really have strived to revitalize the historic downtown area and still trying to stay true to the roots there. So Forney, Texas is another one of those cities that is close to the lake. Well, one of the lakes here in the Dallas area. And that lake is Lake Ray Hubbard, which was actually formerly known as Forney Lake. And it is only a few miles just north of the downtown area of Forney. So as many of the cities here in the Dallas metro area have grown so much in recent years with a lot of migration here to our wonderful state of Texas and Dallas in particular, Forney too has also begun to grow quite quickly as well. In fact, the 2020 census had Forney's population at only 24,000 people. And since that census, it has grown an amazing 49%, with a current population in 2023 of around 35,000 people. Now, according to niche.com, Forney, Texas received an overall grade of a B+, which we will discuss some of the categories in detail here in just a second. And of the 12 categories in niche, the 4 that received an A were the schools, jobs, diversity, and that it's a good place for families. There were 7 categories that received a B, and one of the categories received a C, which was for the commute, which of course we'll dive into a little bit more here shortly as well. So as we mentioned, Forney is located east of Dallas, about 22 miles, and is located in Kaufman County, which is not really the reason that it got a grade of C for commute. The main issue for Forney is that you only have pretty much the one highway which goes through the heart of Forney, and that's Highway 80. So it does have very limited highway access. You can head south a little bit further and jump on the 20 if you want, but for the most part, being right there in Forney, the 80 highway is the one that everybody wishes that they could use all the time and that it would be smooth sailing. So if you do need to jump on a flight or pick someone up from the DFW airport, you are looking at about 40 miles, and it will take you about 45 minutes to over an hour. And that, of course, depends on the traffic here, because you just never know. If you get stuck in traffic getting there, or it's not the ideal time by any means, you never know how long you could be stuck on one of our highways. So I guess if you do have family coming into town and they are coming in through the DFW airport, well, maybe you could suggest that they rent their own car, because that could save a whole lot of time picking them up. Okay, just kidding. But Maybe I'm not. Well, if you do like baseball and you want to catch a Texas Ranger Major League Baseball game, or you want to go see a football game with our beloved Dallas Cowboys, well, in order to get over to the Arlington area from Forney, it's going to be around 41 miles. So you're looking at about another 45 minutes to an hour if you don't get stuck driving through the downtown area of Dallas. And if you wanted to go to Fort Worth to maybe the stockyards or a rodeo, because we're here in Texas and who doesn't want to do that, right? Well, that's going to be about 60 miles away. So you are looking at a good hour to maybe an hour to an hour and a half sometimes just to get over to the downtown Fort Worth area. So now you're kind of getting an idea of where the grade for the commute is coming from. You are going to have to know where you're going to work and also if you are willing to have a significant amount of drive time and distance to most of these major areas and some of the events that we have here in the Dallas area to know if Forney is going to be the right fit for you. So, as we take a look at the demographics in Forney, Texas, to give you a little bit of the feel of the size and the population and the median age and homeownership rates, language makeup, and some of the country of origins that we do find out in Forney. As for the size, it is only about 14.8 square miles, so it is still relatively small compared to a lot of the other cities. And like I briefly mentioned before, the population of Forney in 2022 during the census was around 24,000 people. And as of 2023, the population is around 35,000 people. So, as we did indicate, Forney has been growing quite quickly as it is up 49% since 2020 census. And the median age of the people living in Forney is around 31 years old, with males averaging 29.7 years old and females averaging around 32.2 years old. And according to the latest census, the Forney ownership rate is pretty high compared to other cities in the metro at 78%, thus leaving 22% of the homes as being rented. Now, the predominant languages that are spoken are about 89% of the people only speak English, while 11% speak other languages, with Spanish having the largest percentage at about 9%. And in terms of the country of origin, almost 96% of Forney residents were born here in the United States, with 77% being born here in the state of Texas. And about 2.5% of the residents are not U.S. citizens, with the largest portion being from Latin America, with those being 81%. And the median income in Forney for single family households is almost $94,000 a year. And for families, it is around $108,000 a year. And married families is about $116,000 a year. And according to payscale.com, the cost of living in Forney, Texas is about 7% higher than the national average. But if you were moving from Los Angeles, for instance, the cost of living is about 29% lower to live here in Forney, Texas, with utilities and housing accounting for much of the reason for it being above the national average, because granted, it does get pretty hot here. Now, on into politics. If you're wondering if Forney, Texas is considered liberal or conservative, well, looking at the 2020 map of voters, Forney at the precinct level, it was pure red. And the three precincts voting heavily for Donald Trump to the tune of almost 60%. Forney also resides within Kaufman County, which was also heavily conservative in the 2020 elections. Donald Trump beat Joe Biden pretty handily by a margin of 66.4% to 32.5%. And Republicans also won the Senate seat as well by a margin of 66.7% to 31%. So I guess you can call the area of Forney as in the red zone if you are a football fan. Now, as we do look a little bit closer at the crime statistics in Forney, Texas, we will use a couple of different resources, as we do encourage you to do your own research as well if this is something that is going to be very important to you. Now, bestplaces.net, which indicates it uses FBI data and rates the both violent crimes and the property crimes, which is a scale of 1 to 100, with 1 being the lowest crime rates and 100 being the highest crime rates. Forney, Texas received a rating of 11.1 for the violent crimes compared to Dallas, which has a 37, and the U.S. average being 22.7. And the property crime rating for Forney was rated at 25.6, with Dallas being a 50.7 and the U.S. average being 35.4. Now, the other resource that we do like to look at is neighborhoodscout.com, which sources its data from over 18,000 police departments in the United States, as well as other law enforcement agencies, and they give Forney a rating of 32, which indicates it's safer than 32% of all U.S. neighborhoods. Now, while Niche did give it a rating of a B minus for crime, if crime statistics are important to you, we do always recommend that you do some additional research on your own. But we just wanted to kind of give you three different sources that are pretty popular to give you an overall feel per FBI data and law enforcement agencies on how Forney ranks compared to Dallas and the nation as a whole. Now, as we turn on to employment in Forney, as we mentioned earlier, the median household income in Forney is quite high compared to some of the other cities and is around $94,000 per year. Here you can see the industries that the residents of Forney work in, sorted by the percentage of the workforce. Just making a note of the top three, healthcare is at 16.6%, retail at 12.6%, and education at 10.4%. So if you do work in these industries, chances are there is something for you here in the area. And looking at the actual companies here in Forney, Zippia.com ranked 5 of them, other than Forney ISD and Education, which was noted, of course. So in all likelihood, you will be working out of the city of Forney if you work in the top 3 industries noted. So commuting will likely be involved if that is what you are looking for employment. All right, so let's talk about the school, since that is usually one of the top requested bits of information that our clients will typically ask about. So the Forney ISD has almost 13,000 students that attend 2 high schools, 4 middle schools, and 7 elementary schools. And by looking at niche.com, we see that the Forney ISD has an overall rating of an A minus. And of the 9 categories that Niche uses to create its overall score, Forney ISD receives an A in 4 of them and at least a B in the other 5. Now, looking at some of the rankings in Niche, it's noted that in Texas, Forney is ranked 211 out of 1,018 ISDs in Texas. And in DFW, Forney is ranked 36 out of 83 ISDs. And in Kaufman County, it is ranked number 1. So some other statistics we found in Niche are that the student to teacher ratio is 17-1, being the same as the national average. And if you look at the reviews on Niche, of the 48 reviews, 32 of them were rated very good to excellent. So if school district is really important to you, then I suggest you kind of do a little bit more research to see if Forney is going to be the right place for you to put your family. And you can also look at greatschools.org for additional information. That's another resource that we do like to provide to our clients thinking of relocating here. So we do want to get into the map and just show you a little bit more of where the location of Forney is. So as you can see right here, this is the city of Forney. Now, I will say that this is not entirely accurate. Forney has grown quite a bit, and this is still what the map is pulling up. So you are getting homes up here closer to Lake Ray Hubbard, and it does spread out here a little bit further south. Now, I don't know why it's like that, but when you pull up MLS and the addresses, it just shows that Forney has grown quite a bit. So a lot of this green space is more communities, and the fact Forney has grown. But as you can see right here with the city of Forney in its location to downtown Dallas, and how it's pretty much straight east. And this is the 80 highway that goes right through the center of Forney, heading straight east. I mean, as far as you want to go. But this is what we're talking about when you're thinking of commuting and how you want to get around the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So you can, here on the more southern part of Forney, take this Highway 20 if you want to head over here to the 635, head this way into Dallas, or maybe all the way around this direction into Fort Worth. But for the most part, you're really kind of stuck on this Highway 80. You can go up this direction into Heath and Rockwall if you maybe work up in this direction. But just kind of going this way, everybody in their one highway to get into town can get a little bit backed up. But as we zoom in here a little bit closer to just kind of show you a little bit of what Forney has, it really does have everything that you kind of need on your day-to-day basis. I mean, if your kids play soccer, we got soccer. The Forney High School has an amazing aquatic center. So it does not have like your big, huge community center in Forney. They do have Forney Community Park with a great amphitheater. It has soccer fields. Community events happen there. It's a beautiful area to go when the weather's nice. I don't love going outside to the park when it's super hot, but that's just me. But a lot of things happen within the community here in Forney, in the Forney Community Park. But it does have a super Walmart. It has your Kroger Marketplace. It has an AMC movie theater and your Raising Cane's. So it really does have all of the necessities that you need. But, are you doing home improvements? You got Lowe's. So you are going to have your everyday restaurants. You do have a few hotels when family comes into town for high school graduation. But for the most part, it's just a great town with a nice little quaint historic downtown area and pretty much everything you need if you, let's say, work from home. So if you don't want to commute, you do not have to. But you can still enjoy a lot of the things that Dallas has to offer, go to some games, head up into a lot of these other areas, catch a concert. But Forney, for the most part, is going to be a little bit further outside of the city and a little bit longer distance to get to some of these things that you may want to do. But there is new construction happening all over the place, multiple communities here in the Dallas metro area. So if you want any more information on a lot of the communities that are within here, there is Arbordale and Briarwood Hills and Devonshire, Fox Hollow and Greyhawk. Just depending on what your price point is, there are going to be multiple options here in Forney, and that's what we're here for. Let's help narrow down some of these communities. Do you want the community pool? Do you want the amenities? Because it's going to be hot. Not everybody needs to head over to the lake or wants their own backyard pool. And if those amenities are important to you, we can help find the perfect fit for you right here in Forney if that's where you're looking to move. So let's jump in and talk a little bit more about some of these other areas and what Forney has going for it. So when you're looking at Forney, it is just a little bit under the median sales price for the entire MLS in the DFW metro area. As you can see, the 10-year history here. Now, most recently, Forney's median sales price was around $356,000, making it one of the more affordable areas in the metro, and also a reason that it is growing so fast because of the price point. Now, if you look at the percent of the original list price, most recently, Forney homes are selling for about 96.8% of the original list price. The days on market is also almost twice the median days for the rest of the entire MLS. So if you are looking to maybe rent in the past 90 days, the median rental price for a single family home in Forney is about $2,200 a month, and it ranges from about $1,500 to $4,100 a month. Now, depending on when you are watching this data could be a little bit out of date, so reach out if you are interested and we can talk about the current market that is going on in the city of Forney. But as we look in the MLS in Forney to see, looking at a couple of the more popular areas in Forney, one of them being Travis Ranch, which is located in pretty much the north section of Forney, and they do have a lot of new construction homes up there still, as well as some of the older resale homes that are available. Now, the age of the homes in Travis Ranch range from the early 2000s to current new construction homes, with sizes ranging from about 1,200 square feet to about 3,300 square feet. And they do range in price from the mid 200s to the mid $500,000 range. So if you are looking for an affordable community, this could definitely be a good option for you. Now, you also have the Fox Hollow neighborhood in Forney, which is just a little bit more of a step up in size and prices. And it does have some newer homes in that particular community, as well as some larger homes if you want something a little bit bigger. Now, homes in Fox Hollow range in age from the early 2000s to new construction homes as well. And the sizes range from about 2,000 square feet to upwards of 4,600 square feet. And the prices do range from the mid $300,000 to almost $800,000. So you can see right there the little bit of a difference in what you're going to get between the two communities. Now, if you are looking for more luxury living in Forney, there are some multi-million-dollar homes that do sit on some beautiful land as well, to the tune of, let's say, $5.5 million. So let's check out some of those homes as well. Now, of course, when we have people reach out to us asking about some of the particular cities and communities in the DFW metro area, we have actually helped, like I said, a couple of clients move to Forney, but people who know the price points out there, they do know that the school ratings are pretty good. And so they're like, is it really going to be the right fit for us? So, of course, we got some pros and we got some cons. Well, obviously, some pros to live there are that it's a little bit more quiet community. It's a little bit further outside the city. You don't have nearly as much traffic in and around the city, but you also have a lot of new construction homes. You're going to get more home for your money out there. You're going to get some newer homes. Granted, there are certainly some older homes in the area as well. But if you want a newer construction home and not even necessarily a new build home, there are going to be a lot more options out in Forney, and you are certainly going to get a lot more home for your money. And there are people who really do want a little bit quieter pace of life. That's why they want to move here to the Dallas area. They want to move outside of the city and get maybe a little spot of land or somewhere that, maybe get close to the lake or at the same time not being too far outside of the city limits if they do want to go do something fun that might be coming into town. Now, of course, there are always going to be some cons with some of these particular areas, and one of them is going to be the location. If you are needing to commute and you have the one highway to get there, well, you never know how long you could be stuck in traffic. Obviously, if you work downtown, that could be a pretty good option. But if you are going to be commuting for work, you need to get to the airport, or maybe you do like to get out and do stuff. Well, even though Forney's prices might be a little bit more affordable, it might not be the perfect fit because it might be so far to get out and enjoy a lot of those things that you want to do. We have people comment that they're relocating here and they're big foodies. They love to go out to eat. They love to go to concerts and to do all different kinds of things here in Dallas. Well, Forney may not be the best place for them. Or if you are going to be relocating for work into, let's say, the Frisco area or the Richardson area, well, Forney could be a little bit far. So, another thing to think about always is your commute and what you are willing to do. Granted, we've had people who said they were willing to commute for an hour because where they came from, it was a long commute and that's what they were used to. So, of course, always think about that before making that decision. And if the commute and the location and the quieter way of life is going to be the right fit for you. But on an everyday basis, to hit up the grocery store, to go see a movie, and to grab a quick bite to eat when your kids are headed out to a soccer game, Forney could be right up your alley. So if you do have any of these questions and how we can help you make that move here to the Dallas Metro that much easier, and if you would like a little bit more insight on Forney, don't hesitate to reach out and let us know what we can do to help answer those questions to make that smooth move here to the Dallas, Texas area that much easier. And until next time, take care.